Let's go further in depth now. And to do so, we're pleased to welcome in former Illinois Congressman Michael Patrick Flanagan, currently president of Flanagan Consulting, and Pete Hoekstra, ex-congressman from Michigan, former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. To you both, as you Skype in from Washington and our Newsmax facilities there, we thank you very much. Pete, let's start with you. What's the intelligence update on what's going down under in Sydney?
Well, there's not much of an intelligence update at this point, other than it looks like it's probably a homegrown terrorist attack, a homegrown, funneled mass casualty type of attack is what they may be looking for. But until we actually apprehend this individual, until we start peeling back the layers, we won't know a whole lot about this particular situation. But over the long run, Australia has been a steadfast ally with the United States against radical jihadists. They are clearly a target, just as America's homeland is a target.
And as we understand, not only that situation with hostages in Australia, but something that has transpired, I believe, today in Belgium. So we are seeing incidents worldwide. Any possibility that's related to release of the Senate CIA report, Pete?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's very hard to draw that kind of causal impact. ISIS and other radical jihadist groups, they will use the release of the Senate intelligence report. They will use it in their social media. They will use it as a recruiting tool, both to try to attract people to Libya, to Syria, to Iraq, and other places where they're actively engaged in war. And they will also use it to try to incite, again, homegrown terrorists, which are the most difficult to stop. They will use it as a recruiting tool, but to directly link this attack or potential attack in Australia to the release of the Senate report, I think I think that's probably a little bit of a stretch.
Michael Patrick Flanagan, you bring an interesting resume, not only as a former member of Congress, but a former military man in Iraq for Gulf War I, and then back with what transpired during the time in that second Gulf War. International terrorism. Do you expect it to increase in the days and months ahead?
I don't know if it'll increase relating to the Senate Democrats' report, but I do know that it will be on the uptick now and in the future. Much of the targets, if you want to call them that the Bush administration developed over the years were developed for intelligence purposes, that we could mine and resource and worm our way into these organizations and break them up and take them apart. President Obama has taken all of those sources and basically droned them into non-existence, which has given ISIS and other al-Qaeda affiliated organizations the opportunity to grow exponentially because we've used up our targets. We've killed all that we know, and we haven't developed any ability to find others and to actually root out the problems with these organizations.
A little less than a minute 30 remains. Let's return to the piece of audio and video that we saw from Meet the Press. Dick Cheney emphatically supporting the techniques utilized, waterboarding. He says it saved American lives. The reaction from Cheney, emotional and hard-hitting to you both. Do you agree with what Dick Cheney had to say? Pete, to you first.
Absolutely, and I give credit to the former vice president. When I was briefed as part of the Gang of Eight in 2004, Republicans and Democrats were in the room, some of the same Democrats who today are so viciously attacking the former vice president in the Bush administration and the CIA. In 2004, 2003, they were as enthusiastic about this program as what the former vice president was on Sunday.
Fair enough. Let me turn.
They reviewed it. They had the opportunity to stop it, and they didn't.
So mindful of that 15 seconds, Mike, is that just typical hypocrisy from Capitol Hill?
Yeah, Cheney's furious because it was an agonizing decision for him to move forward with this enhanced interrogation, whereas for the Obama administration, I remember a quote from Rahm Emanuel when he was chief of staff, blithely, he'd walk into the office.
We have to hold on to that. We'll be right back.